Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Amazon seller journey session. And if you're thinking you're having deja vu, no, you're not. I've got my first ever return guest, Madeline, and you might recognize her from the very first Amazon seller journey session, actually. And I was thinking to myself the other week, it just makes sense. I mean, this is a journey, right? So it just makes sense to have guests come back every so often to see where they're at now and keep up with what they're doing. So, Madeline, thank you very much for joining me once again on another session. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this. For anyone that hasn't seen the first session and doesn't know who you are, please can you just give us a brief introduction to you?
Yeah, so I started Amazon in 2021
Yep.
and I started with this was probably the worst idea. I started with private label, which was, everyone knows is the worst thing to start with. But yeah, I moved on to wholesale and I've been doing it since then.
Mhm.
I do unique bundles now as well.
Yeah.
I contact brands directly more now actually, rather than going to wholesalers and distributors because I feel like they're a bit more saturated now, and I feel like I get more success just going straight to brands directly now. So yeah, I've just been working hard doing that.
So, with the wholesale and the private label, how would you say that that's split in your business? Like, is it more wholesale and only a bit of private label, or is it fairly 50-50?
No, it's definitely more. I'd say it's about 30 private label,
Hmm.
about 70% wholesale. Yeah.
And just going back on the private label thing, because I don't know, I don't recall touching on this last time.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, you say that it's not a good idea to go with in the first place. So
Uh,
I'm curious, and as I'm sure others will be, what made you do the private label thing in the first place?
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. When I started Amazon, I had no training or anything like that, and I was really like clueless. So I
Hmm.
did my own research, and I actually genuinely thought that private label was just the only thing. I didn't know there was like different options.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the training that I found online was all about private label, so I thought that that's what it was. So I
yeah.
just did it. Luckily for me, it worked out and it became Amazon's choice, and it did really well. But for the first few months, like with anything, I was in a loss for a few months. I thought, oh my god, like what have I done? But
Mhm.
then it started breaking even, and then it started doing really well. And I think within 6 months, I got the Amazon's choice,
Yeah,
like, and then after that started doing well, I decided I figured out about wholesale and everything. Obviously, you learn as you go,
yeah, yeah.
and then I started doing wholesale, and then I've just progressed ever since. Yeah,
So even though it was wobbly at the start with the private label, you just what kept at it, and then it eventually worked.
yeah, I had to. I thought I'm too now. I have to have to carry on. But yeah, I was persistent with it, and it did pay off.
That's awesome. So last time we had a session. What was your turnover looking like?
So if I remember rightly, I think I just hit my first £10,000 within a month.
Okay. And where would you say that you're at now with your turnover?
Well, in December, I hit my first £20,000 month. So it's
Mm.
double the last time we spoke. Yeah.
That's great because there's a lot of stuff recently with people saying that there's not really any progression with Amazon and it's hard to grow, but like that there, I mean, we've got video evidence now between the last time and this time that there is clear progression with it. And obviously there will be if you keep at it like you had with your private label, for example.
Yeah.
Starts off a bit wobbly and then you just keep going and I mean Amazon's choice. So I mean,
Mm,
massive congratulations to you
yeah.
on that growth. Was there anything in particular that you would say you did that maybe helped encourage that growth, or like when was it that you noticed that the growth started to peak in the space of like the past year? Was it sudden or was it gradual?
It was more towards the end of the year, and it's because I actually focused more on contacting brands directly rather than going to wholesalers and distributors. Because I feel like I've had a lot more success going to brands directly and getting a direct account with them. Obviously, it's not as easy sometimes.
Yeah.
I tend to, instead of going for really well-known big brands, I actually go for like the middle ground
Yeah.
brand, and I have a lot more success with them. And I feel like that's when it started improving a lot more quicker. Yeah.
So how you run things, so how you run wholesale, for example, has that changed a lot over the past year? Have you been switching from like your bog standard wholesalers over to brands?
Yeah, pretty much. I still do you have some wholesalers,
Yeah.
more, and most of it is straight from the brand now. I'm not. It's kind of like changed over slowly. But yeah, I do still have some wholesalers that I use and look at, and I do look for new ones, but it's mainly going to brands direct now. Yeah.
For anyone that is perhaps not quite sure about what this whole reaching out to brands thing is, can you just explain some of the benefits of contacting and working with brands directly as opposed to like a wholesaler?
Yeah. So obviously the main reason is you get the products the cheapest from them, because obviously if you go for a wholesaler, they're going to add their little bit of profit onto it or whatever. Um, Obviously it's harder because some brands don't like Amazon sellers.
Hmm.
I mean, there are little ways around it, but I don't want to like expose myself. But yeah, I just think you get the lower prices. I mean, some of them actually are okay with Amazon sellers. I think when you do your initial email, I like to kind of like find out, ask a few questions and see without actually directly saying I'm an Amazon seller.
Yeah.
I'll, put my toe in the water and see how they feel about third party platforms or whatever. But yeah, the main reason for me is just getting the cheapest prices possible.
Mhm.
Then you can be more competitive on the listings.
Why do you, I don't suppose you have any idea, do you, about why brands don't like working with Amazon sellers? Because I hear this sometimes with wholesalers, and obviously you say it's kind of the same thing for brands as well. Do you have
Yeah,
any idea why that might be?
yeah, I think it's because they don't want people to basically keep tanking the prices on Amazon. That's
Mhm.
what I think anyway. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's because a lot of people go on Amazon, tank the price, or it could affect that they could be selling it themselves on Amazon and they don't want the competition.
Yeah,
So there's a few reasons, but yeah.
yeah. No, that makes sense. And with with contacting brands, like would you say that there's a particular point in one's Amazon journey when they should start thinking about that, or certain things that they um, would need to have in place first before they then go reaching out to brands? Like, what would you say the criteria is?
I wouldn't say there's like a time limit on when you can do it, but if you're going to do it, you need to have a platform that you say you're going to sell these products on,
Yeah,
and and you need to have something other than Amazon because, as I said, they don't like Amazon sellers. So if you have, let's say, you make your own website
yeah,
and products on there, it doesn't have to be a live website, but if you have something where it shows that you're selling it,
hmm,
because sometimes I don't, it's not all the time, but sometimes I say, well, where are you going to sell these products? If you have your own website that you can use as a landing page, then it helps massively.
yeah,
And when if they give you an application form or something, sometimes they will say, have you got a website, or ask where you're selling it. They don't all, but yeah, it's always good to have a landing page basically to show where you're going to sell them.
hmm, yeah,
Obviously, also a lot of them like you to be back registered, not all of them. And a lot of them ask for your company registration number. So obviously it's good to be a limited company as well.
yeah.
So some of them do accept sole traders. But yeah, to have a limited company is quite important as well.
Hmm. And with contacting them, do you
Mm.
have like a set kind of structure for how that goes? Like, do you say the same thing initially every single time, or does it vary? Like, how do you structure your initial reach out and then any other communications from that point onwards?
Yeah, so I like to keep my initial email really vague because I don't like I do have my own website,
Yeah.
but I like to provide it unless they ask for it.
Hmm.
So my initial email, I'll just say, good afternoon. We're really interested in distributing your products within the southeast area, and I like to say that we distribute to local brick and mortar because obviously that's like shops, isn't it? So
Hmm.
then point that I don't need to mention my website. And then I just say, oh, can someone get back to me? They usually get back to me and just say, hi, yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about your business? Can you like fill out this form or whatever? And then I would just say, yeah, I'm a family run business. We distribute locally in our area, blah blah blah. And then if they say like, do you have any online platforms? I then say, yeah, we're in the process of like creating an online platform to like widen our um, customer base.
Hmm.
Work in progress. That's what I normally say. And then if they really push, I'll give them my website. But I don't like to give the website because it's like it's a professional website.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I keep that. That's like I keep that in my back pocket if I need it. But the main thing I say is that I distribute locally to brick and mortar stores.
Hmm.
Works.
And if have any of them like directly asked you, like, do you sell on Amazon, or has there been any occasions where you've like had to mention it, but actually instead of you expecting it to be a flop, it's actually gone well? Have you had anything like
Yeah.
that?
I've had both ways. I've had one where they've outright like I've gone through the application and it's all looking good, and then they say, by the way, we don't like Amazon sellers, like you can't sell it. And then so it depends on the listings. If I go on Amazon and there's loads of people on the listings,
Yeah.
I might risk it. But if there's like one or two, then I won't. I won't. I'll just avoid that completely. But there's been a couple of times where originally I've said that my original email that I distribute to local stores. But then I got a bit suspicious about the listings because there was only a few people on there.
Yeah.
So well, do you know, I'm going to be, and there were it was two brands, and I really, really wanted to get a account with them, and I thought I'm just going to be honest on this occasion.
Yeah.
Say I was like, how do you feel about people selling your products on third party platforms such as, and I was like, oh, such as TikTok. I said a few others first, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
again. And they said, yeah, it's fine. They said, but just be advised, just be aware that there is one of our distributors are on there, so it might be a bit more competitive for you. So yeah, and then it worked out. So then I sell on them still now. So yeah, it's all like just getting an idea of whether you think they're going to like it or not,
Yeah.
and whether you think it's a risk or not. It's just every brand is different, like how you approach them. I think.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's the same thing with wholesalers. Some of them are like really open. Some of them it's like you've got to get on that VIP guest list.
Yeah.
Some are like somewhere in the middle. So yeah, like I can imagine it is very much the same with brands. But I mean, it's great to hear that you're expanding into that area and you've had several successes with
Mm.
brands that you want to work with. Um, so we talked about brands and getting into that and some of those benefits. On reflection of the past year, would you say that there's like any other, I mean, let's talk about some highs and lows. Like, what are some of the like lows, I suppose, of like the past year, if there's any that spring to mind?
Um, There was one low. It's not really low, but it's a lot of my products are well, I'd say about 60% of my products are like grocery. So
Yeah.
like stationery, chocolates, biscuits, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it happens every year because it's just the time of the year. But obviously you get to January and everyone starts being good and going on diets.
Yeah.
So for me, that's like a nightmare because the sales for January go right down because everyone's being good. No one wants to buy chocolate. No one wants to buy biscuits.
Mhm.
Literally within February, it picks straight back up. Everyone quits their diets, so everything goes back to normal. But yeah, January was after having such a high in December and hitting my first £20,000. January took a big dip, but I did expect it because obviously the time
Yeah.
of the but yeah, it's back up now. It's back up to normal. But yeah, I'll say that was a bit of a low.
Yeah. No, I mean, it happens, I think, with pretty much everyone. Like not just Amazon sellers, but I'm talking about like lots of places in general, like restaurants, retail stores, like everyone's like Christmased out.
Mm,
Like, and if they're not at that point, then it's obviously New Year's sales and that's what they go for. And then like that's it. And as you say, people make their resolutions and I think most people try and stick to them for at least that first month and then they kind of forget about it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, that's yeah, an unfortunate natural point of Amazon. Um, so yeah, like if that's the only low, then I mean that sounds.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I can't think. Nothing springs to mind. That I think that was the most recent low. That's why it's still fresh in my mind. But yeah,
And in terms of like the high points, obviously you've started working with several brands. You've hit your 20K month. Are there any other sort of like high points that you'd say that you've had in the past year?
um, Yeah, it mainly is getting the accounts with the brands. For me, that's the highest point because I feel like that's like the best you can get when you're finding your products,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I've got quite a lot of them now. So for me, yeah, that's and hitting the £20,000 a month. But I'm already thinking about £30,000 a month now. That's my next goal.
Yeah, yeah, just keep growing.
Yeah.
Um, what like so you're at this point now where full-time Amazon,
Mm.
wholesale private label, working with brands, 20K, moving on to your 30K month. Like what would you say at this point now, like the main benefits of doing Amazon are to you? Because when people initially get started, it's the whole, oh, I can make some like I can just make more money.
Mm.
But obviously, there's other things, there's other perks with doing Amazon. So, someone that's been doing it now for a few years, like what would you say are the main benefits besides just obviously making a ton of money for you? Like, what would you say some of those benefits are right now?
Mm. Well, obviously the making the money and the freedom, and I would like to say that I'm not going to like say it's like a definite, but I really, really have been thinking about doing mentoring or something like that, and
Yeah.
moving, helping other people.
Hmm.
It's not something that's set in stone. It's something that I keep thinking about, and I'm like kind of looking into. But I feel like I don't know. The next thing for me would probably I'd want to start helping people more
Yeah.
because I help people anyway. People message me all the time, and I'm always answering people's questions. But
Mhm.
to be like start training people, I've started thinking about that. So we'll see.
Yeah. And hopefully they find your mentorship first before a private label course.
Oh my god, yeah. Absolutely. Don't do me.
Yeah. Um, one of the things that I'm aware of is you've been on like a few holidays and stuff. Like, tell us a little bit about that. Like, where is it that you've been? Like, anywhere nice?
Yeah, so I've just got back from Turkey. I'm going to where am I going? I'm going to Egypt as well. I'm going to Tunisia and I'm going to Rome. So they're all
Nice.
yeah. I'm
And
probably going to book some more as well because honestly, I just hate being in the UK.
when you go away, like, do you close the laptop and go, no, I'm not working, or does it end up being where you end up doing a bit of work on these holidays anyway, or is it like fairly automated for you?
Oh, it's very automated, yeah. I mean, I might have to have obviously the Profit Protector Pro, the app is on the phone.
Yeah.
So I don't have to get my laptop out for that. That's a dream. But I take my laptop anyway, just in case, because you never know what's going to happen with
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah.
But yeah, on the holiday I went on last, I think I got back beginning of last week. I didn't look at it at all. It was just working away in the background, making me money while I was on the beach.
And when you came back, like anything that was a bit besides obviously maybe a few tasks to catch up on, but was there anything that made you feel a bit or was everything all chill?
No, it's all chill. It
Okay.
just over nicely, yeah.
Yeah. That's good to hear because obviously like working from home is great, but then obviously because you work from wherever, like work kind of sits on you like a backpack
Mm.
when you're doing stuff like this. So I think it would like it's obviously great for people to hear that obviously it doesn't take over too much, like you can still go on holiday, close your laptop and yeah, and just leave it and come back to it when you come back to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's so nice.
Yeah. So with the mentoring, like what's inspired you to like get into that now? Like what's the reasoning for you wanting to branch out more into like that side of things and helping people out more than you already do?
Well, I think it's like you get to a point with Amazon where it's like I say, it's all ticking over, and it's like, what's next? And it's a nice feeling to help people and to train people and to give other people the opportunity to learn and do it themselves.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's just a like for you as well. I mean, yes, there's the helping people part of it, but then at the end of the day, like you're a businesswoman. So like it's another income stream and it just makes sense to open up like more income streams.
Yeah, of course.
What would you say, like for anyone that's perhaps at your level of Amazon selling and maybe they haven't quite thought about like branching out into that side of things and like making a course or mentoring or whatever it is that they want to do, um, like what would you say to them, like if they had a thought like just maybe watching this and thinking, oh, maybe I could do that as well. Like, what would you say some of that criteria is for getting into maybe like mentoring or making a course? Like, what would you say would be good for them to have, like experience wise, or like anything for people that are thinking of it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you need experience. You
Yeah.
need experience, and I'd say you need experience within everything. So, well, it depends. You could just say you're going to do mentoring just for wholesale, but for me, I feel like it would be better to have experience within private label, wholesale, unique bundles, someone who has actually experienced their own issues and how to resolve things as well. Because it's always good. You can read a training manual or something, but when you actually make a mistake yourself and learn from it, I feel like that's when your knowledge really starts to grow.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd say you need experience, but also don't underestimate your experience. Some people probably sitting there doubting themselves, but if they've been doing it for years, so don't doubt how much knowledge you actually have if you've been doing
Mhm.
it yourself. So yeah.
Yeah. Are there any, like on that kind of note, like w would you say that you've experienced a lot of, I don't know, personal growth, I guess the right word is, like doing Amazon, and obviously having seen that you can go from 10K a month to 20K a month, like are there any other things that you feel have helped you like grow as a person whilst doing Amazon?
It's definitely helped me grow as a person. It's definitely taught me some patience as well because I do not have patience, but with Amazon, sometimes you do need a little bit of patience. Really believe in yourself. You've got to really be persistent and actually like remember your goals and where you want to be because there's so many moments when you're doing Amazon where it crosses your mind and you think, oh, like, is this too much? Like, is this going anywhere? You start, if no, things go wrong, you start doubting yourself. But
Mhm.
then be persistent, persevere, believe in yourself, and also confidence as well. It's given
Mhm.
me speaking to brands. When I first started speaking to brands, I had no confidence at all, and it probably showed. But the more I did it, the more confidence I had. Like now, they'll ring me, and I would just like I can just talk so naturally and so easily to them. So yeah, it's given me a lot of confidence in all areas as well.
So prior to doing like Amazon, or like let's say you never did anything Amazon related, like would you say you would have gone on to do like similar sorts of things? Like would you say that you'd be at that kind of level of confidence anyway? Like or not? Would you say that that's come like hand in hand with doing Amazon?
It's definitely come hand in hand. I mean, I've always been a really ambitious person anyway, so I feel like if I didn't do Amazon, I probably would have done something else. But
Yeah.
Amazon has definitely like made me grow in my personal life as well. But yeah, made me grow as a person, I think.
Yeah. No, I think that's the case with everyone because like you have to do things like you've got to even if you don't want to do it, you just have to like do it anyway. And then once you've done it, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then it just snowballs like that. And eventually, like you're contacting brands. So yeah, no, that's great stuff. Obviously we're gonna wrap it up now, but before we do that. Is there like what would you say your main lesson has been over the past, I don't know, year? Like what would you say like your main lesson, like what would you say like if you could just sum up everything that's gone in the last year
Mm.
and sow the seed of knowledge in anyone that's watching, like what would you say?
Hmm. The main things really is to be persistent and really put in the effort because the more effort you put into Amazon, the more you get out of it.
Mhm.
If you're not putting much effort in, you're not really because obviously in the beginning you really do need to put in the hours. When you after it's been a while, it becomes more automated and you can sit back and relax a bit more. But you really need to be putting in the effort and really believing in yourself and don't let little mistakes deter you. You just got to keep going, be persistent, and yeah, you'll make it.
That's great. You will make it. Matt said it, so you will make it. Um, great. So I'm gonna link Madeleine's TikTok in the description. So please go ahead and give her a follow. Check out some of her videos. She does stuff pretty much every day. I think I'm right in saying. Like I see new stuff pretty much all the time. So yeah, I think that's safe to say. Yeah. So yeah, if you want any more knowledge, then that's where you can go. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming back on and catching us up on what's been going on for you. It's been great to hear from you and hear how well you're doing and that you've experienced like quite a bit of growth in multiple areas. That's awesome. So yeah, once again, a massive thank you.
All
And
right.
thank you to you who's been watching this. If you want to check out Madelyn's first session, that is the first video in the Amazon Seller Journey playlist. Or if you've missed any of the other ones, then they're all there. So thank you once again. Thank you, and I'll catch you very soon. See you later.